My favorite object that's supposed to be down there is called the Chrono Visor. And this is an object that lets you see through time. I don't know if you've ever heard of this.
I don't think I have.
So chrono means time, visor means see. So this is an object that you can see through time. It was invented by, his name is Pellegrino Ernetti. Father Pellegrino Ernetti was, he was a priest, but he was also a physicist, and he was like an expert at music. And he was working with, I think his supervisor was Father Gemelli. He's working at a university or something. And what they're doing is they're studying Gregorian chants and listening to records and cataloging things. And they're listening to one record, and Father Gemelli says, I recognize that voice. And they play it back, and I'm like, well, who's that? And he's like, that's my father. I'm like, well, what is he saying? He said, well, he's talking about leather and prices, and well, it turns out his father was like a shoemaker, like a cobbler. And he heard his father's voice selling somebody shoes. So they end up isolating these voices and come to the conclusion that all the objects around us are vibrating with an energy and picking up all the conversations. Everything we're saying is getting absorbed into everything around us. And that if you can tune into the right frequency, you can hear that. And if you can really zero in on it, you can see what's going on. And Father Ernetti gets together this group of rock star physicists led by Enrico Fermi, who worked on the Manhattan Project, you know, a heavy hitter, and 9 or 10 others. And they build this device called the Chronovisor. And Father Ernetti goes and he looks back at Mussolini's speeches, and then he goes back further and he's looking at watching old Roman plays that no longer exist. And what really put it on the map was he took a picture of Christ's crucifixion and released it. And it's a wild photograph because it's Jesus Christ on the cross.
Wow.
And so he releases that to the public, and it hits the newspapers, especially in Italy, like crazy. I think this was the 60s, and becomes a sensation. So I covered that story, but ended up finding out that the Christ in his photograph looks an awful lot like a Christ statue that was carved somewhat recently to that era that was in a cathedral in Spain. And it turned out that that's really what it was he had this photograph that he said he saw Christ, but it was just his photograph of the statue. And then he backtracked a little bit and he said, well, you know, this is really the photograph and the statue's based on this, but that's not what happened. So the Chronovisor is just this legend, but according to the story, the Vatican releases a statement at some point that says that anyone who's caught trying to look or listen through time is excommunicated.